Good morning, I'm Paul Mueller. News Channel 8 is, of course, your local election headquarters. A mix of newcomers and career politicians are entering statewide races in the 2018 election cycle. On top of that, with a controversial president in the White House, Republican voters will have a lot on their minds when they cast their ballots. One key lawmaker who is watching the political climate is outgoing State House Speaker Richard Corcoran. He became Speaker of the House just last year after serving in the chamber since 2010. He currently represents the 37th District, and that includes part of Pasco County. He joins us live in the studio this morning for our Sunday one-on-one. Good to have you here.
Thanks for having me,
Yeah,
Paul.
nice to see you again. Let's start off with one special election that happened last week, the one we're talking about, State Senate District 40. That includes Miami-Dade. That seat held by Republican Frank Artiles, who resigned last spring. Amongst the accusations that he had, it went to Democrat Annette Taddeo. Is this, do you believe, a sign of things to come with voters?
No, not at all. I think that if you look at that race, first of all, Democrat seat and hold it.
So one seat doesn't represent a whole state, is what I'm hearing.
No, not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. But you got to keep in mind that was a Democrat seat. It wasn't a Republican seat. The
Right.
fact that then from the Democratic Party.
You mentioned the hurricane, and of course we know the devastation, the destruction that's going on there. We're also anticipating a lot of Puerto Ricans to move here to Florida. That's what we're hearing, at least right now. Could this wave of Puerto Ricans actually change the Florida political landscape?
Well, I think this is going to have a huge community and actually have more Puerto Rican House members than the Democrats.
And that, as we know, is a big change because they tend to vote Democrat.
I think, I don't know, it seems like maybe traditionally, I think the registration.
President Trump, some analysts believe that he may be starting to turn off more moderate Republican voters and independents in future races. You were openly critical at one point, openly critical. Let me read some of the things. You called him repugnant, of questionable character, ignorant, and of, quote, phony cancer on conservatism. Now you seem to like President Trump a lot.
Yeah.
What has changed there? What has made you done the 180?
No, it hasn't. I haven't done a 180. So when you see that, then hey, if you govern as a conservative, I'll be with you. But if you don't, I will not be with you.
So you're saying actions speak louder than words, is what I'm hearing.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So on the political trail, it was one thing. Then when you saw him get into office, you saw his actions, and then you thought, oh, let me change my mind from saying a phony cancer on conservatism.
That's right. I think that the reality is he has been as conservative, more conservative than any president that I've seen in my lifetime, and that's a high compliment.
Hurricane Irma and the damage and destruction left in its wake here in Florida. Many counties still dealing with it, some inland counties in particular. How would you rate the response so far?
I think that if you were to say from top, the entire state was affected.
What can we do better? And that brings up a point. Are we ready? That's a big question. And here in Tampa Bay, a lot of people say, no, we're definitely not ready. 15 seconds on this one because I have a very important question to ask you after that.
We're going to look at everything. We're going to look at Hardee and already looked at by the legislature.
You know what I'm going to ask you right now is our final question. Race for governor. It's what, 9:20 on October 1st right now. Are you 10 to I should say 9:40? Are you in or are you out?
I tell everyone that it's a great honor, one of the biggest honors. I make that decision in March.
So no yes, no no. And does Adam Putnam play a key part in if you run or not?
No,
I mean, he's 20 years in Florida politics there.
I think people who know me well and people who have, we've gone head to head on know that I don't really care who my opponent is. I'll fight anybody, any place, anytime.
You've got the mouth for it. All right, and I say that in a kind way. Speaker Richard Corcoran, we appreciate you being here in the studio this morning.
Thanks a lot, Paul. I appreciate it.
Thank you for your time. All right. Coming up, we'll turn our Sunday spotlight to another state house race, this one for Southern Polk, Hardee, and DeSoto counties. Republican candidate Richard Mann also live here in the studio. We're going to hear from him coming up. We're back after the break. Welcome back. This Sunday, we turn our Sunday spotlight on another state house race, this time for Southern Polk, Hardee, and Hernando counties, all hard hit, of course, by Hurricane Irma. Once again, what seems to be a growing political trend this year, another candidate is running for office for the first time. That's former firefighter and Army veteran, now Republican candidate Jeff Mann. Jeff, glad to have you here in the studio this morning. Thank you so much. Political newcomer, why dive in right now?
Well, I want to continue that voice.
Serving the community, and let's take it from there. We're going to talk about Hurricane Irma. Both Hardee and Polk counties really took the brunt of this the storm here in the Bay Area. And as a veteran, and a former firefighter, what do you think needs to be changed in order to make these areas and Florida more storm ready? What we saw was awful in many people's views, but it could have been much worse. What could be done better?
It could have been much worse, because it's only a 4-day stint.
Yeah, it's taken a while.
It's taken absolutely too long. to get the post help.
And for those of you watching who need the help, it runs until Tuesday, I believe, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And from what you're seeing, though, are residents getting the help they need on the state and federal levels, do you think?
Not, at least on my county level. I think as individuals, we should prepare for ourselves.
You wait on government, so is that why you're getting into it?
Well, I'm trying to expedite. I'm trying to get it where, you know, the government works more for the people.
Right.
And right now, you know, in our county, it's not working too good.
All right, so speaking of the people, let's talk about what the #1 issue that you're hearing from constituents who you would represent.
It's just that. The information flow isn't there. That for 6 years. And
Real quick, I've got 30 seconds. Campaign finances. The latest update from the Division of Elections for July had you with nearly $26,000. The August report for your Republican opponent, Melanie Bell, about $57,000. How can you make up a difference like that?
I don't need to.
Why not?
And I'm not truly concerned. I mean, while the rest of us were out working, it'll catch
Got
up.
a little dig in there right there?
Not really. It's a point. And I've made this point
A
all
fact?
over the
You're
county.
saying
It's
it's a
just
fact?
it's a straight fact. And I just think that's old school politics. She's a politician. I'm not. And, you know, we're going to face it head to head. Roy Moore just won $30 million to $2 million. So money doesn't always count.
Good luck to your Republican candidate for State
Thank you,
House,
sir.
Jeff Mann.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we appreciate you being in this morning. We'll be right back with our Capitol Report from Tallahassee. Keep it here. Welcome back. Some of the big headlines throughout the state this week. Florida lawmakers go into Puerto Rico, the Florida death penalty, and the stand your ground law. Joining us this morning, as always, Capitol correspondent Mike Vasalinda. Good morning, Mike. So many eyes right now on Puerto Rico in the wake of Hurricane Maria. Governor Scott, even Phil Levine, the mayor of Miami Beach, and possible Democratic candidate for governor, both there. The question, why would they go?
Well, let's give them the judge of why they were there.
Good question there, Mike. All right, Florida set to execute a man next week with ties to Tampa. Michael Lambrix, if you remember, was sentenced to death, but it was not by unanimous jury vote. And now that the courts are ordering hundreds of new hearings for death row inmates whose juries were also not unanimous, how is this execution going to go forward?
Well, indeed, this executed Lambrix.
We'll look forward to see if that challenge is happening indeed. All right, a ruling this past week from the Florida Supreme Court allows someone who gets immunity by using the stand your ground law in a criminal case can now be sued in civil court by the victim. The question, why would they make such a ruling?
Well, they believe that the legislature opened the door when it changed the standard of proof for prosecutors in the stand your ground case in this very last session that made it possible for people to actually come in and sue. Remember, O.J. Simpson, the Ronald Goodman family sued O.J. Simpson even though he was found not guilty. This case is sure to be reviewed by the Florida legislature. It's not something they intended. They fixed it last year. They're going to take another look at it this year because they don't want people having to face this problem twice.
They certainly don't. All right. A lot going on and happening from Tallahassee. Mike, thank you so much as always. And that is the latest from the Capitol this morning. Much more to come when we come back. Welcome back in what could be the biggest news story all day. O.J. Simpson, a free man. Take a look at him, a video of him being released early this morning from a Nevada prison. The former football legend had been serving 9 years there for armed robbery and kidnapping. He now has 5 years of parole supervision. Simpson told the parole board he wanted to live in Florida. Of course, 2 of his children live here in St. Petersburg, and at last check this morning, the Florida Department of Corrections had not yet received a transfer request. We've reached out to double check that, still waiting for a response. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson says there are now, quote, direct contacts between North Korea and the United States. This amidst tensions over the North's nuclear and missile programs. Tillerson is calling for a calm between the two nations. All right, 9:56 right now, and look who's back.
Hey.
He's here with the weather.
Yeah, looking pretty calm.
Where you been?
Well, I was admiring actually the view. Take a look. That's the view of Hillsborough River.
Oh, nice.
Gotta like that.
Let's go outside.
Oh yeah, well, we'll do that in about 4 minutes here.
Let's do
Okay.
it.
I got to get through a forecast first. Let's show you that. Over the next couple of days, we are going to include an afternoon rain chance today at 40%. I know a lot of folks wanting to know the timing of this. Well, yes, right around 4:05 when we get the kickoff for the Giants and Bucks at Ray J. There could be some showers nearby. We can't rule it out. But then drier air next week, near 90, which is above average, but the lows a little bit less humid, so that 73 is going to feel nice and comfortable.
Bring your ponchos to the game just in case.
Just be prepared.
There you have it, Ed. Thank you. And thank you for joining us this morning. Meet the Press is next. Our next newscast is tonight at 6. Have a great day.